Now, I just did get a National Weather Service warning from the Lubbock area. There's a tornado warning effective now until 2:15 p.m. in Yoakum County. That's moving to the northeast, so I'll be extra careful there. As far as our segment today, we're going to talk about an idea that I've had for a long period of time. That's to educate those who don't know about agriculture, get them involved, let them know what's happening. Some Boy Scouts in Roswell did that. We'll roll the tape now, and I want to show you exactly how these Boy Scouts in Troop 2 were involved in the agricultural process by the Diamond A Ranch. Robert O. Anderson and Phelps Anderson were so very kind to take these Boy Scouts out on their ranch, took them for 2 days, let them camp out, get the feeling of really being into the ranching industry. As you can see, they had to unload their gear from the modern day vehicles, and now they're setting up camp out on actually a historic trail. It's the trail that John Chisholm used to trail his cattle from South Spring Acres to the Mescalero Apaches many, many years ago. These young cowboys got an opportunity to learn how to rope, even got a catch here and there. Didn't necessarily learn everything there is to know about roping, but got the idea and the feel of what it was like to be involved in ranch work. Now, one other thing, Boy's Life, Boy Scouts magazine that's been in existence for years and years, that most of us grew up with, was at this and took pictures, and will feature these young cowboys from Troop 2, Boy Scouts from Troop 2, in one of their upcoming magazines. It should be in August or so. And you have to learn how to coil a rope, and you can see that some of our youngsters did need some special training along those lines. Now, they also got some help from the cowboys who work on the Diamond A Cattle Ranch. The actual cowboys that work there were there to teach them how to ride, explain everything that they could pass along in a short period of time about camping out, cooking, how it was in the old days along the cattle drives. The cowboys were actually able to move some cattle along on a cattle drive. They rode about 10 miles apiece. They learned about horses. Look at the awe in some of these eyes as they pet the horses. Some of them's first time to barely be around horses. Here's a couple of the cowboys explaining the care of horses and what it takes to keep a horse going while you're on a trail drive like this. Got a demonstration on how to shoe a horse, something every cowboy must know if he's going to be out there working. And these young cowboys were extremely interested in this. And of course, all the Boy Scouts had to be taught how to ride a horse, and instruction very, very important in this, as each cowboy got an opportunity to do that.
I mean, you do everything on the left side. This is a blanket. It's the first thing that goes on. You want to always keep it clean. And of course, you always want to brush your horse off. We don't have a brush. It's the first thing that goes on. You get a hold of your saddle. Give me a little room. You go to get off a horse, put your foot in there. You ride with your foot in the stirrup, but you want to be careful that your feet don't go through the stirrup. But when you go to get off, kick your stirrup out on the toe of your boot.
Fort Stanton played an important role in this area because it was really through the military that law and order kind of came to this part of the world. Now, John Chisholm came here in the 1870s from Texas, and he came here before there were any fences. It was all open range, and John Chisholm had longhorn cattle, Texas longhorn cattle. We'll have some Texas longhorn cattle with us tomorrow. John Chisholm didn't like people stealing his cattle, so he put a special brand on them that made it real hard for the rustlers to change his brand. And the Chisholm cowboys had a big bunkhouse there at South Springs. And Chisholm was real big in about the last half of the 1870s was really his peak period. And he had a cowboy working for him that we've all heard about because he's probably the biggest, most well-known cowboy in the West, and that was Billy the Kid.
I was raised in born in Roswell, been there all my life. Had a ranch west of here, and all this country was unfenced years ago when I was a kid. You could ride from where I lived.
And that gives you some idea of what these youngsters were going through. That was Royce Griggs was the cowboy teaching the horseback riding, and of course Phelps Anderson was telling the stories about the old Chisholm Trail and some of the historic facts there. Joe McKnight was filling the young cowboys in on exactly what was happening in real ranch life in later days and areas. And all those gentlemen, certainly want to congratulate them for spending their time to do that. Now tomorrow, we're going to take you out there and show you what those scouts learned about branding, driving cattle and things. Should be very interesting. You be sure to be with us here on Your News New Mexico's Midday Report. Yesterday, we had an interesting show about Troop 2 of the Roswell Boy Scouts. So going out and visiting the Diamond A Cattle Company and getting to go on a cattle drive and also learn to brand some calves. And I kind of showed you some background on that. Well, today, we're going to journey into the real working life of the cowboy and see how those Boy Scouts stood up against those cowboys and what they did learn. We'll roll that tape now.
A place called C.D. Bonnie Canyon.
Joe McKnight was one of the cowboys.
There was only one fence.
Stories. Of course, Joe's been around for 80 years.
The
He
ranch,
was an original
the
member of Troop 2 and, of course, raised on the McKnight Ranch. He told stories, so did Phelps Anderson. Here, the young Boy Scouts were out getting some of that good chow that was cooked up. Lots of good food to set up 2 days of activities. Of course, sunrise comes, means it's time to get up, get the teams hitched. There was a chuck wagon and also a following wagon with all the equipment brought along. Of course, a little breakfast. The Boy Scouts and the Cowboys seemed to enjoy themselves and certainly enjoyed the good cowboy-type food. The menu included cowboy coffee, Dutch oven biscuits, eggs, bacon, potatoes, beans. Cowboys had to get up and get mounted, of course. It's not always as easy as it seems when you get your first opportunity to really get on a ranch pony.
You're doing okay, Ben. Okay, don't pull on the reins, Ben, when you jump up. Don't pull on the reins.
This cowboy having a little trouble, but not yet. I think up, and in the saddle. Now, a few minor adjustments for most of the cowboys, and we're ready to ride off across the range.
I think they learned how to handle a horse. Quite a bit about handling a horse. And I think they learned a little bit about how we have to drive cattle.
It was time to go home, have some good chow again, and, of course, go to bed. Sunrise, breakfast time. This is going to be a big day for these young cowboys as they get set for, of course, some branding. Got to heat those irons up. Cowboys were out roping. Diamond A Cattle Company now. Cowboys were out there, and they were doing the instructing and helping these young men along. What an experience this is, once in a lifetime, as you watch the cowboys drag the cow up and get a little instruction as to how it's supposed to happen. Now, supposedly, when you have a branding crew, they work as a team and a unit, and everything works out fine. Now, it doesn't always happen just like that when you get some new people in and around your ranch. The famed Diamond A brand being put on. And then as we see another calf being drug up, it's time now for the Boy Scouts to go into action with a little guidance from a trainer. Cowboy jumps in there, grabs hold of the calf, not exactly the way he wanted to grab hold. Back up there, cowboy. Got a hold of him now, and he's just about ready. Looks like things are going to work pretty good. They bring in a branding iron, everything's set. Oh, they're going to give him a shot. Look out, cowboy, that always hurts. Calf will probably show you here. Oh, he does show him. Cowboy lets the calf go. Now we get one branded, and it looks like a successful branding. We drag up another one. Each and every Boy Scout got a chance to hold a calf, to brand, to shoot the cattle, give them their shots, and learned exactly what it was to be in the cow business. Here we have a little problem with the rear end. That's always the tough end. You know?
Because you don't want him to
Now, it looks like this young cowboy's going to get a good firm hold on exactly what's happening here.
Put this foot down here.
At least he hopes so.
This one. Get this hand right under here this way.
You got him? Let's get in there a little tighter.
Comfortable like that?
Yeah, you got to put that foot back there and mash now. Don't let go.
Pull just as hard as you can. Hang on to this. I guarantee when they start branding,
Somebody will get kicked if you're not careful. Hang on tight.
It'll kick that boy up there.
That's right.
Then it'll kick you
Yeah, Todd.
Okay, you got it?
They got him. They got him.
Pull on him.
Don't turn loose that front leg, he won't get up.
Push with your foot. Push. Did real good on there, Brandon. They was a little hesitant to hold them till they got to kicking them, and then they got a hold of them and got tough with them.
Got him all, Brandon. One thing left to do. Now you got to get out of the way. Let this calf up.
Y'all didn't see me do that a while ago?
Now this brings us to the end of our tale.
Hold on the tail.
Except there was an awards ceremony. There was lots of fun and excitement for these young men. We asked Art Evans of the Diamond A Cattle Company what he thought of these young cowboys.
Needed a little instruction on how to do it, and then when they got their hands on it, why, they did good.
You hire him to come out here permanently?
Well, yeah, sure. We can work them all summer.
Of course, Phelps Anderson, who was so very important in instigating this and getting Boys Life out here to cover this and put it in their magazine in an upcoming issue, and also just give these young men an experience.
I think they learned a lot, but I just hope they learned and maybe will remember a little bit about the way things were 100 years ago in the cowboy life, and they got a unique chance to have a little taste for that. And that's what we set out to do, and that's what I think we did.
That's all for today. Hope you enjoyed these 2 days of Boy Scouts ranching, and thanks to the Diamond A Cattle Company, to Robert O. Anderson, and all of those involved, all the cowboys who worked very hard, and all the parents who helped to get these young scouts out for this big event.